Matrix is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of Shorts with Liz Clark.
Well, hello. Thank you for joining us today. And I am thrilled for today's guest, who really is a true pioneer in wellness and health innovation. Annbeth Eschbach was the founding CEO of Exhale, where she redefined the mind-body experience. She later brought her strategic leadership to Kindbody, helping transform women's fertility healthcare. And today, she is the co-founder and CEO of ResetOne, a cutting-edge longevity platform focused on personalized preventative healthcare. Please welcome Annbeth Eschbach today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's pretty thrilling to be back. IRSA, which now, of course, is HFA, was really foundational to my career and my work. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, yeah, I'm honored to have you with us, and you've been such an important part of our history of where we've come from and now where we're going today. So I think just as maybe our organization has been, on a journey and evolved, so have you, and so have, many of the companies that you've been a part of. So I'm glad that we share that together. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the origins of Exhale. We'll start there. In the beginning, right, you founded Exhale in the early 2000s, really well before wellness became as well known as it is today in industry. And tell us what really sparked the beginning of that for you.
So I was an operator at that time in the high-end spa and fitness industry, and I was working for Wellbridge. We managed something like 65 properties all across the country in 16 markets, and they all had a different brand name, different positioning. Some were spas, mega athletic clubs, some were corporate fitness centers. And during that time, and during all of my time working with IRSA, HFA, I really learned about the market and the consumer and came to the conclusion that what people really wanted from the spa and fitness industry didn't exist, and that the industry needed to go in another direction. And so Exhale was founded to fill that void. Back at that time, this is before all of you were born, we had big box gyms and we had beauty and pampering spas. And Exhale was founded to fill a void. It was a unique first to market well-being brand. And it was absolutely the first brand that offered both spa, healing, and boutique fitness classes under one roof. By the way, back in that day, boutique fitness classes did not exist. And the term well-being, boutique fitness, you never heard them. You never heard mind body, you never heard transformation. So all of this was new. And so we recognized that there was an opportunity to bring sort of the holistic, transformational experience that you get when you go away to a Miraval or a destination spa, bring that into the heart of the cities, bring it into urban markets so that people can come in and experience transformational mind-body classes, spa therapies, and healing, and then be able to sustain change, to be able to sustain that transformation. So that was the vision.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting when you look back at that, right? All the different brands and modalities between spa, fitness, mindfulness, all under one brand. And there must have been challenges, hiccups, hurdles. And when you look back, maybe what were some of those challenges, and what do you think that Exhale did differently that actually helped lead that movement that so many are following right now?
Well, so first of all, we were criticized. People said that you're just really woo-woo. We don't understand what transformation means. We don't understand why you would put yoga and bar classes under one roof. That's like, a sin. And why would you put it with spa? And we got so much feedback. I remember telling somebody, well, listen, 50 years ago, did you even know what Starbucks meant? No, nobody knew it was coffee or what it meant, but Starbucks brought that to life. And by the way, we had real conviction that that integration, which didn't exist of all of these modalities, we really believed that well-being was more holistic, and we taught our team and asked our team to deliver on that vision consistently and across all those modalities. So, I think to answer your question, yeah, it took a lot of conviction and it took a massive investment, not necessarily just dollars, but an investment in culture and training. We had our own proprietary sales training called Selling with Soul that we put every one of our teammates through. We also created our own language. Language is so pivotal. And we used words that were not used then and are now very mainstream. But our language was really essential to policing the brand and aligning the entire team around our North Star. So we focused on language, touch points, expectations, and our goal was to make all of these modalities integrated under one roof, feel cohesive and elevated, no matter what the entry point was. We had to really teach the market what mind, body, well-being is. And it's very intentional that I'm using the word well-being and not wellness. And we had to teach the market how it benefited them. And so I'll give you a funny example of this. We had, in our very first location, we had all of these really fit, trim women that would come in 5 days a week and take the bar classes that we called Core Fusion. And one day I was summoned up to the Madison Avenue location by a woman who, that's all she ever did. She would take 2 classes a day and she was perfect. And that's all she wanted to be, was perfect. But she summoned me
Sounds
up.
like a dream, by the way.
What?
It sounds like a dream. I would love
No,
that.
oh gosh, I think it's a lot of pressure. But anyway, so she sat me down and she said, I wanted to meet you in person and thank you because you have, not you, Exhale has changed my life. And I said, why is that? She goes, because I have to be perfect. My, husband makes a lot of money. I have 3 kids and a nanny and somebody that blow dries my hair every day. And I take 2 bar classes a day. And there's a lot of pressure on me, blah, 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 blah. And I have been absolutely miserable. And one of your salespeople suggested to me that one of the ways, when I went in to see her and I said, oh, I have some cellulite or whatever she said, this salesperson of yours suggested that I try acupuncture because it would help me with my cellulite. This woman has no cellulite. And so she said, I would never have tried acupuncture. That's something I'd have to go down to Chinatown to do. But I trust the brand. I trust the people here. And I took a deep dive. Now I'm doing 2 acupuncture sessions a day. My marriage is fantastic. I have an open, loving relationship with my husband again, and I'm still taking bar classes, but I have evolved. So my point is, we believed and had conviction around putting all of these experiences together and turning people who came in the door for one thing onto another thing so that they could become more balanced and, holistically transform.
Amazing. Did you have any fear that it wouldn't work? That the concept would flop? I don't think you could at that point. You had to be fully convicted. But looking back,
Tell you one thing that every chance I get, I like to tell other founders, which is you start out and always there are pivots or doors or changes, you run out of money or you always have bumps along the road. And it's really good being old because you're used to going through bumps and you're wiser and you're more resilient. But we never, ever deviated from our North Star, and which was transformation. We never allowed any service or any product or anything on the menu that wasn't mind and body and that wasn't transformational. And our basic business, model and plan was consistent and remained consistent. What changed was the market. And you just have to know going into anything that things are always going to change, and just stay true to your North Star, but don't be stuck in the mud. So the two biggest changes, one was really fantastic, was we hit a recession, and I wasn't sure we were going to make it through that recession. And we only had, I think, 4 or 5 locations at the time. But what happened was the real estate market changed. And here we were really struggling with cash flow. And all of a sudden, the developers needed a branded fitness and spa brand that was profitable, that could be accretive to their mixed use properties, hotel, condo properties. And boom, all of a sudden, developers invited us in to be part of their projects and paid for our build outs. So we doubled the unit size of our company in the recession. Not only that, we got very, very solid because we were able to structure deals very differently and get management fees, blah, blah, blah. So that was a pivot that was positive. It was also challenging because we were working within a lot of other groups, and owners and people, whatever. It was more challenging, but we maintained our brand, we maintained our North Star, and continued to grow. And then the second thing that I remember that was so fascinating was we were, the best bar classes and the best yoga classes in this beautiful wrapper, beautiful environment. And then boutique fitness decided to storm into the market. And all of a sudden, there's cycle classes and there's HIIT classes and there's these classes. There were just a million different flavors. And the staff or the teammates would say, well, we need to do this, or we need to do cycle class. Or, the guests would say, and finally I said, I will tell you, it is absolutely critical that we evolve and continue to innovate new classes, but they have to fall under our mandate. We're not doing cycle classes. I love what Soul Cycle is doing and whoever else fly, but we need our classes to fall under our mandate. So we started a innovation group, and they started incubating new proprietary classes, again, that all fell under our mandate. And over time, I think we launched another dozen modalities, but they were ours, and they met the criteria of our brand. So yeah, I think you've got to be resilient, you've got to take advantage of opportunities, and then at the same time, you got to move.
Right. Yeah. You got to know your competitors are always knocking at your door. And what does that look like? So very, very wise of you. So you conquer the world after with Exhale, I would say, and then went into a different space with Kindbody. And what drew you to focusing more on fertility and women's health? Was that a theme that was maybe rising up that you sort of saw at Exhale, or was this just a new direction?
So after selling Exhale to Hyatt, I stayed on. I continued to lead Exhale under new ownership for about 18 months. And then while I was there, I was happy. I love my team. Everything felt fantastic. I was recruited to join Kindbody. And this was a really difficult decision for me to leave my baby. But Kindbody's mission touched me so personally because I endured 5 years of fertility treatment. I can just tell you from experience that the industry was so desperately in need of disruption. And so Kindbody really represented the opportunity to build and grow something that the world really needed. And by the way, that's the thread through my life's work. And that's what excites me as an entrepreneur. The fertility industry, it was fragmented. Treatment was expensive and only accessible to the top of 1%. It was an inhumane experience. It's frustrating, it's depressing, and it's really, at that time, it was a full-time job just to navigate the system. And Kindbody set out to change all of that. And I had promised myself many years earlier that I was going to help other women someday. And I never thought it would be like this. But we set out to change all of that, to make, family building and fertility care affordable, accessible, and empowering. And we did it through our proprietary technology, which allowed us to lower our pricing and consumerize experience. Most importantly, we did it through selling a direct-to-employer benefit so that people that made $15 an hour, like we had a gazillion people from Walmart that could finally afford to have a child and be parents. So, and then the other piece that we set out to change that was probably the most thrilling for me was reinventing the experience, building it from the ground up by patients for patients, right? Really, it's even more than taking on a consumer lens. It's really building an experience from your background and knowing how horrible the traditional experience was. So yeah, I really found that to be a rewarding experience, and I'm really proud of what Kindbody has done.
Yeah, you should be. And as a dynamic leader, helping all this pivotal growth in that space, and bringing your, leadership experience that you brought. Talk a little bit though about how did that experience teach you about how women specifically are engaging with their health, which might then launch us to the next phase of your career.
Yeah. So my advantage/disadvantage going from a D2C company like Exhale and stepping into healthcare was I didn't know healthcare, but it was an advantage because it starts with seeing this not just as healthcare, but as something deeply personal. And it really deserves that consumer first lens. People deserve to be treated like engaged, informed teammates or participants, not passive recipients, you know? And I think asking questions and being on the same level as the patient, as opposed to the hierarchical, traditional approach to medicine is important, and making sure that you experience every touch point yourself, meeting people where they are without judgment. But the most important, well, there's a whole bunch of important things, but one of them is giving patients tools that allow them to be in control of their data, of their health, their progress, knowing every day, how many follicles are growing because it's in the palm of my hand, in that proprietary portal that manages expectations, and people aren't calling you 50 million times a day. But it's partnering with patients as opposed to the traditional hierarchical relationship in medicine. I also think that technology is so critical to turning healthcare upside down, which needs to happen, because technology gives the patient more control if it's used correctly, and it allows physicians to operate at the top of their license and not do everything. So I think it's more than just women. It's women and men deserve to have more proactive, precise care that they are participating in as opposed to just being told what to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds so simple, partnering with patients, but yet it's kind of a revolutionary concept. And that I think we're seeing in all kinds of different modalities today. So with that, then it's ultimately shaped your approach to ResetOne that you're leading today. So, and ResetOne focuses specifically on precision of health and modern longevity. So, what helped shape this idea that is now yet a new concept and something like else? How did that inform this?
Yeah. It's really simple. Everything in my life, everything that I've worked on up until now, has led me to precision longevity medicine. I've spent 35 years scaling these transformational, very personal health and well-being brands. And both Exhale and Kindbody were consumer facing, right? They both helped to revolutionize their respective industries. But it's this next frontier of consumer health that is going to unlock profound, profound transformation. And by the way, the moment is here. It's like not off 10 years from now. It's here. And it's why we had to build ResetOne. Instead of that traditional reactive one-size-fits-all approach to healthcare, today we've got the science and the tools and the data and the technology so that we can provide a proactive, personalized approach using cutting-edge precision medicine and delivering life-changing outcomes. I guess what excites me the most is to think about it this way. So Liz, what if you could finish the next decade biologically younger, healthier, stronger, sharper than you are today? That is the profound opportunity in front of us. And that's why when I got the call, I said, okay, let's go back to Vapor and Vision and let's build another transformational company. And I'm very excited about it. ResetOne is a longevity brand and practice, clinical practice, and a platform that's dedicated to not extending your life. We're dedicated to helping people age younger, stronger, and healthier. And that means optimizing health span. And the reset obviously reflects the commitment to helping you recalibrate and redefine your health. And then the one in our name comes from the N of one concept, which is a scientific precision approach that is specific to each individual as opposed to traditional medicine, which relies on, generalized population data. So we are medical as well as lifestyle. Every member has a longevity physician, not a coach. Every member has a sleep expert, a nutrition expert, and a fitness expert. And all of this is supported by a spectacular proprietary tech platform powered by AI that is engaging, informative, educational, and surrounds both the patient and the care team. And everything is focused on outcomes, outcomes, outcomes. And I believe that if we can document, well, we are documenting, by documenting these outcomes that we're already achieving in under 7 months, they're just extraordinary. There is coming in the short term, not long term, the payers, the health plans, and the employers All of this is going to unlock both of those channels down the road. Today, it's primarily, private pay, because incentives are going to get aligned. Historically, payers know that companies switch health plans every 3 years. So why the heck are they going to, subsidize proactive care? And so if you can demonstrate incredible outsized outcomes within 6, 7 months, we'll unlock both of those channels. And that's what we've done. We've done 2 proof of concepts with real life patients. And in under 7 months, we've seen biological age on average came down 6.5 years. Hemoglobin A1C came down 7% across the board. We saw inflammation decline 38%. I could go on and on and on. And then, by the way, in addition to improvements in body composition, we have self-reported outcomes on quality of life domains like better sleep, pain-free, energy, cognition. I'm not as stressed, but of improvement in quality of life domains of as much as 66 to 75%. This is like in 7 months. I mean, it's amazing. So I really believe that this well care is going to replace sick care. It's not going to happen today. It will happen when we're able to demonstrate all of these outcomes. But in the meantime, I know we're on the right track. We have a great conviction that we are. We've learned a lot.
Yeah. And I think when you look at something that the tangible improvement of quality of life that you're measuring is something a lot different than even maybe some people when they go see their doctor, right? Like maybe they might lie about how much they're sleeping or how much they're drinking or how much they're watching everything they eat, right? But when you can directly relate it, there's some incentive there, right, to take yourself a little more seriously, right?
Well, I just think a lot of us, especially women, I think a lot of people don't ask a lot of the questions that they want to ask when they go to the doctor. They feel uncomfortable. They know that the doctor has like to see 50 people a day in order to make whatever they need to make. And so they're blah, 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 blah. So one of the things that we're doing is every couple of weeks, we've launched the Living Room Longevity Series. So our first webinar was on perimenopause and women. And oh my God, we had 175 people come. We had one of our founding physicians and specialists in hormonal health lead this. And people could ask questions and learn so much from real live experts that have been doing this for years and years and years. And then the next one, you will love this, was on muscle medicine and the muscle reset and the power of muscle. Oh my gosh, and how that relates to longevity and health span, lifespan. So we are leveraging our physicians to educate, inspire, and help us build our member base.
I love it. And I do love that. So thinking just through kind of wrapping all of this up in a bow, if that's like even possible, as a founder of so many different amazing concepts, what are some of the maybe pieces of advice, reflections that you would give, and maybe especially to women that are looking to pivot into something radically new in their health space? I mean, what we just talked about is radically new, that we could be, if we can be younger in a decade than we are today. I mean, that's almost impossible to get your head around, but there's already evidence of it. So what would you say, I guess, to some other founders who are looking to address their health space?
I told my son, and then I'll talk about women, our other, follow the industry and industries where all the transformation is going to be unlocked, all the disruption and transformation, and that's healthcare. And so I think this is the most thrilling time to be in this space. And I mean that for every one of us in the health fitness industry, because we have together the opportunity to transform what is a sick care healthcare system into a well care system. So the opportunities are endless because the market's fragmented, the consumer is like eating this up. And this is a market that's really ripe for disruption. So I would encourage two things. Number one, I would encourage women and men founders that want to build a new disruptive, innovative company to follow or go towards markets that need disruption, industries that are ripe for definition. And then I think the second thing would be to be a learner. Don't get out half over your skis or all of it. Study, test, learn, iterate, and be uber humble and get proof points. And just don't fall in love with an idea or a concept. Be really rigorous about proving it out and, developing, the data. And especially women, because women founders have to focus on data and numbers and profitability and EBITDA. And if you just talk about passion and how we're going to change the world, and I know I did a lot of that when I answered your questions here, but let me tell you, it is so crucial to be able to talk about how you're changing the world and doing something that really needs to, that the world needs and doesn't exist. And at the same time, there's a large enough market opportunity. This is going to be a sustainable and big business with great margins because we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Passion matters, but you need more than passion. What's the business argument for it? Exactly. So tell me a little bit about if you've touched on so many different things, but if there was one core belief that you had that's carried you through so many of these chapters, from Exhale to Kindbody and now to ResetOne, and probably ultimately to what's after that, what is it that sort of keeps you settled and keeps you focused and keeps you energized for the next day?
Interesting. I am committed to my personal health and well-being, and it's a very big part of my life. I am as committed as I am to the physical and whatever aspects of making sure that I work out and eat well and sleep 8 hours a night, which, by the way, now I do after going through this proof of concept. But in addition to that, I think the one thing that's been a core belief, or it's been really central in building companies and going through everything you go through, is that I believe you need to lift people up, not tear them down. And I think it's a philosophy that you need to embed in the rest of your team, and you all need to police it. And this is not about being nice. This is about being authentic and collaborative and getting to the right place. And with that comes a real commitment to avoid hiring toxic people and keeping them. And by the way, it's the hardest thing to do because toxic people and drama is something that's magnetic and people are drawn to it. So you can't do it by yourself. You have to have a team that's aligned around that philosophy as well. Because, by the way, there's a ton of talent out there. Everybody wants to work in, the fitness and well-being and longevity. There's a ton of talent out there. But you have to have more than that. You've got to have really aligned talent. You've got to have talent that is good, talent that is not toxic. And so you just have to go that extra step.
I love that. And I think that's even advice that I give to new people, especially in the workplace, is if you're, sitting next to somebody who's negative all the time, who's complaining all the time, maybe separate yourself from that. That's never going to make you stronger or better at your job. So I love that, to lift people up. And that's not about being nice to them, but it's about lifting them up, encouraging them to try new things, to have bold visions, to take chances. And to have trust in the people that you work with. I think that's really a phenomenal message, and evidence that that's been many of your philosophies, gotten you to where you are today. So, Annbeth, this was really great for me. I learned so much, and am just so excited about what's next, what's here today, as you said, and then, what we don't even know is on, the other side of the mountain. And it's just nice to have pioneers like you that have given so much to this industry, and to give back, and to, see where things go next.
Well, thank you to HFA, aka Ursa, for giving me my start. I really appreciate all that you did.
Yeah, there's been a lot of tremendous founders in this industry, and it's great to give back. So we're happy to have you as one of our alumni, if you will. So thank you, Annbeth. We will talk soon, and just thank you for your time today.
Hope to meet you in the flesh someday.
Same. Be well.
Matrix is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of Shorts with Liz Clark. With over 20 years as a dedicated supporter of the fitness industry, we're thrilled to continue a partnership geared towards success for all those who believe in better.